Beethoven if he was a liberal. Him. Him.
How did you get past security? His fortress is impenetrable.
Door was unlocked.
Son of a bitch.
Can we get affordable housing? No. Can we forgive student loans? No. Can we raise the minimum wage while corporations receive record profits? No. Can we stop funding a genocide? No. Can we get free COVID tests? No. Can we stop killing the planet? No. Can we not build cop cities? No. Can we fund public assistance programs like SNAP and daycare for children? No. Can we at least watch videos on an app of people doing fun things and learn about the world around us? No. But don't forget, we're listening to you. We're not listening to those private political organizations that give us hundreds of millions of dollars a year. No, it's your voice that matters, and it's your voice that we're listening to.
When are TERFs gonna realize that, like, the people that are making fun of Dylan Mulvaney a lot of the time are just making fun of women? And wait, even if you don't think Dylan Mulvaney is a woman, like, that is not the most obvious white girl of all time. It doesn't matter. They're making fun of women. They're using the excuse that, like, she's trans to get away with the fact that they can say anything about her. And you just let it happen. And maybe this conversation is too nuanced for you. Maybe it's too hard. So let's go back into, like, children's books. A small little book called Terrible Things. It's an allegory for, what was it? Published in 1880, and we still haven't learned our lesson. And as a quick summary for the book, there's these things called the terrible things. And they come in and they start taking different animals from the clearing. For example, they take the birds. They grab their nets and they take all the birds away. And the other animals in the clearings, they're just like, oh, the birds were always loud anyway, obnoxious, annoying. More room in the forest for us. And we're just glad it wasn't us they wanted. And the rabbits are always the ones saying this. They're saying, like, oh, I'm so glad it was them and not us. And it keeps going from animal and animal and animal until there's no animals left, and then the terrible things come for the rabbits. I shouldn't have to spell out what that allegory means, but if they're making fun of Dylan Mulvaney, this, like, well-off woman that looks very feminine. Let's be honest, she looks feminine, more feminine than a lot of cis women. And that's not a diss to cis women, come on. If they're attacking her, a well-off white woman, you're not that far behind. You're not.
So what do you do for work? Well, actually, my brother has a severe mental disability, so I'm kind of like his caretaker. Oh, wow, that's really awesome. Yeah, and I also post TikToks of him. Ooh, okay. What kind of TikToks do you post? Like dancing videos or like cooking videos? No, he can't do that. So I mainly just like record him when he's like having a meltdown or like crying and screaming, and like, you know, I show the ugly sides of this disability that he has and bring awareness to it. Okay. Doesn't that maybe kind of feel like you're like exploiting his disability for money? And like, is he seeing any of that money, and can he even consent to being in these videos if his disability is as severe as you say it is? Well, no, he doesn't get any of the money, but like I get the money. And like, no, like he knows that we make the videos. Like, sometimes he'll like be in them and he knows we're making them, but a lot of the times he doesn't even know that I'm recording him. So it's like, fine. Doesn't that feel like you're exploiting him? What? No, it's just, it brings in so much money and people like to see it, and it's raising awareness. So it's good. I don't think that's what that is.
The word Ashkenormative is so offensive. Hi, my name is Raven. I'm Black and Ashkenazi. Let's define the term Ashkenormativity and unpack why the term isn't offensive, but actually necessary. My working definition of Ashkenormativity is the centering and privileging of Ashkenazi traditions, customs, and specificities to the exclusion of additional diverse traditions within the Jewish community. Last year, I attended a Passover Seder, and there were 2 Sephardic people sitting at my table, and as we were all dining together, they noted that none of the food that was being served was anything like what they would typically prepare for themselves for Passover. When I first started making content online, one of the topics I spoke about a lot was colorism, because when I looked at the people who were doing the work to talk about that specifically within the Black community, it was mostly Black folks with darker complexions. We cannot place the labor of talking about intracommunal harm solely on the shoulders of those experiencing the harm. People in the Jewish community who are not Ashkenazi and are experiencing the effects of Ashkenormativity should not be having to do the work to call it out all the time. Those who inhabit positions of privilege must also be doing the work to dismantle those privileges, and not to virtue signal, but to actively deconstruct.
Oh my
my God, did y'all hear that Love is Blind is not getting renewed for another season? Now that I've gotten your attention, I'm here to talk about 2 upcoming cases that will soon be argued before the Supreme Court. A case out of Texas threatens to undo decades of progress in reproductive health care by restricting access to mifepristone, one of the medications used for abortion. Now, mifepristone is a safe medication that has stood the test of time for more than 20 years. But this is not about safety. It's just another attempt to destabilize abortion access, something that has already been hit with blow after blow since Roe was overturned. I find this next case particularly terrifying, and I would say it's dystopian, but it's very much our reality. The Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act is being challenged by Moyle versus United States and Idaho versus United States. To put it simply, these cases determine if Idaho and other states can enforce their abortion bans even if they conflict with federal law. If they are successful, then healthcare providers in certain states with abortion bans will be restricted from performing the procedure, even if it's necessary to stabilize somebody that's having a medical emergency. Yes, you heard me correctly. The quest to grant personhood to the non-sentient may one day conflict with pregnant people's right to stay alive. This shit is not a game. We are expecting decisions regarding both of these cases in June of this year.
There's no shame in admitting your biology. Like, say it with me. I am a man. I'm a man.
Kelly, that girl from the first clip, is a trans woman, and she made this wonderful little video saying that all trans women should just call ourselves men, because not only will that make the cisgender community happier and understand us better, but it'll also make us happier and understand ourselves better. If you were to see me walking down the street, you'd probably assume I'm a woman, which, spoiler alert, I am one. But what Kelly is suggesting is that before you perceive someone's gender, you first have to figure out whether or not they are trans, which you cannot tell just by looking at me, but Kelly insists you figure this out, because if that person happens to be transgender, you have to call them the opposite of the gender they're presenting as. What world does that make sense in? So I am not saying that you should always assume someone's gender presentation is the same as their gender identity, because of course there are effeminate men and masculine women and non-binary people who exist and are wonderful. But we live in a gendered society and trans people exist, which is why it would make no sense for me, a woman who just so happens to be trans, to call myself a man or use the men's bathroom. Do we get where I'm going with this? Kelly has had a very successful career selling out her community for clout, and I'm not making this video to try to engage with her or even change her mind, because I know that's not possible. So when I saw that ridiculous video she posted, not only did it kind of make me laugh, but it also hit a nerve. So Kelly, if you happen to be watching this, woman to woman, doll to doll, man to man, your need for validation from conservative people does not justify your transphobia. Get a grip, girly.
In the next 20 seconds, you'll have a direct way to help the people that are suffering in the Palestinian conflict right now. Operation Olive Branch has launched a perinatal program, which is going to help families that need critical support with like medical supplies, food, water, diapers. What is Operation Olive Branch, you ask? It is a volunteer-based nonprofit that wants to amplify mutual aid requests coming from the people in Gaza. And what does perinatal mean? I'm glad you asked. Perinatal is the time when a child is conceived all the way to like a year after it's born. To help these families who now have to take care of literal new human beings, you can go to the link in my bio. You'll find the place to donate. You'll be able to follow and support the community partners of Operation Olive Branch. And you'll find ways to directly help families, meaning like from your phone to their hands. All I'm saying is it's time to lock in. There's no excuse to be inactive right now.
My name is Guruni Kesu. I'm Mohawk, and I want to show you where I come from. I come from Ganawage Mohawk territory, and somebody needs to contact the sign maker because it definitely doesn't sound like Caucasus Mountains at all, because my territory is actually very flat, although we are about 15 minutes outside of Montreal. And if anybody here knows a little bit of French, Montreal, Mount Royal, we do have some mountains just to the north of us. But my reserve, aka Mohawk territory, kind of just looks like a small town. We have schools, hospitals, a seaway, and even some churches. This one is significant because this is this church where Kateri is, and she's actually the first Native American saint. So she's pretty significant, and I was actually baptized here. Now, my territory is located in Canada, so we are considered a northern tribe, but originally we were in the New York region. We were predominantly in the upstate area of New York, but we were pushed and forced into Canada after Britain seceded and the colonies were overtook. While many Mohawk people were actually allies with the United States had no problem saying, "Get off the land now, you've finished your usefulness." With Jesuit missionaries moving in, a lot of us were pushed into this territory, which in and of itself was actually at one time a Jesuit missionary. And they forced a lot of Native people to actually convert to to Christianity in order to be able to come and live on this land. But this is where I'm from, and regardless of what skin color somebody has, it doesn't invalidate them as a Native person, because we come in all different shades, hair colors, eye colors, and Native people aren't a monolith, so we all look very different. And if you haven't heard of the Mohawk tribe before, we're actually under the Iroquois Confederacy. So if you've heard of the Iroquois, that's us. And there are actually 6 tribes collectively: the Mohawk, Cayuga, Seneca, Oneida, Onondaga, and Tuscarora. And they were all once located in the upper New York State region.
Honest question, genuine question. Why don't leftists care about masking? Why aren't supposed radical, socially conscious people, why aren't they masking? Like, we're in a full-on pandemic raging, disabling hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions. We care about liberation, but not for the disabled. I genuinely do not understand the dissonance. We claim to care about communal safety, but like not about community when it comes to a virus that's spreading and acts like HIV in a lot of ways. COVID, it's a damaging virus. It's truly a damaging virus. And the denial and the passivity of leftist people in masking, I can't grasp it, man. Our government has lied to us about everything, but they haven't withheld things about COVID. Like COVID's the thing that we can trust them on. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss. I just don't get it.